aware of it as I was growing up, from a young age actually, but first it didn't really have to do with my skin tone, but just with the fact that the culture that my parents gave to me, well, the culture that my parents gave to me was just a bit different than the people who were used to in my neighborhood, I guess. So it was not really only about the looks, and later on, when I went to high school, I think I was around 12 or something, I started to realize that everyone around me didn't look, or I couldn't really relate with the way that people looked around me. And that's when I kind of, I guess, got conscious of the fact that I was the only one with a different skin tone, or just a darker skin tone.
And where did you grow up actually?
I grew up in Amsterdam, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with my parents in the west of Amsterdam, so in Roxane, which it was really nice to grow up there actually. And when I went to my high school, I went to a high school in the south of Amsterdam, and the south is quite a posh area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very white.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. And so like growing up as like a little girl, like how did you felt like being, like you said, you know, like different from the other kids? Like were you like very aware of it in the sense that it was like difficult, or was it just like, or did you embrace it?
I think I had a hard time with embracing it, to be honest. And I think that actually that is because of the reason that there wasn't really a lot of representation as I was growing up. So when it comes to just like the basic things with just my hair, for example, I was always struggling with the way that my hair looked. And my mom would braid the hair for me and my sister, but I would always be quite ashamed of the fact that it wasn't like loose or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it was just so different than everything else in my environment that I just got super sensitive to all of the looks that people gave me. I'm not even sure if the looks that people gave me were only about like my appearance, but I just always assumed that. It wasn't so nice.
Yeah, no, I completely get it, and I think that I also grew up in a very, very white environment, and I went through like something very similar. I remember like wanting to be like blonde with blue eyes, and just because I wanted to look like the pretty little girls.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was also about it. But then, do you remember having like a specific moment when you started to like yourself, like you are?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. That's a good question. I think I'm still in that process, to be honest. I think that last year, or maybe 2 years before, I kind of reached a point where I told myself that I cannot be bothered by being insecure about just like beauty standards that were just imposed on me. But I guess it is also a bit late. Or not late, but just, sometimes I'm just a bit sad about the fact that I wasted so many years on all of these standards that are just so shitty to say. But just like 2 years or something. I got more confident with the person that I am. My apologies.
Okay. And then also like as a young woman, like discovering her femininity and then love, engaging in like some romantic relationship. How was it for you?
Oh my god, it's actually so hard. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's super hard. Like whenever people try to get to know me, I think that I'm quite a social person, but whenever it comes to getting, I don't know, like intimate with someone, just like dating someone, I'm always just wondering how the person is perceiving me. Because I've been quite used to the fact that people just want to know me because of my appearance, and they have like already fixed ideas upon that.
And why would you think that?
Just because I heard like just phrases as chocolate princess and whatever so often. it's just like, I mean, I don't want to generalize people also because I don't think that everyone that is perceiving me is thinking about me as this chocolate princess or is thinking of me as this exotic something, but it just happened to me more often than I wanted to, and now I'm just super conscious of that. But this, I think that like my dating life and stuff is a bit complicated because of that also. I'm just trying to be really aware of the fact of the people that come close to me and just don't want to get disappointed, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, like protecting yourself also like from feelings that you don't want.
Yeah. But it's just complicated because sometimes I'm also just like contradicting myself. I really don't know what I want or something. It's just for me to figure out, but it's just annoying when you have like these strong feelings about how people are perceiving you and stuff. It's just really annoying. It's really mildly said, but I guess it's just annoying.
But then then I can also imagine, like for example, I talk with like some women that because of this, then they only wanted to date people from their own color or like at least people that are from diversity.
I also understand that. But I don't think that I have that as much as people would assume also because people also assume that. But I kind of think, I guess that I'm not sure if it's naive, but I just want to give people a chance also. But at the same time,
or like at least the benefits of the doubt.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's also something that I should be really careful with. At least whenever I talk to my friends, they're always like, you should be really careful with that because giving people the benefit of the doubt is actually like already a red flag. But I guess that I just want to open up myself still. Because otherwise I have the feeling that even the choice that I make,
the angry black woman.
Something like that. But also that the choice that I have is actually not a choice, or it doesn't feel like a choice if it's so forced. And the fact that I cannot even that I have to generalize people, and I don't want to generalize them, but it's just rather complex, I guess. When it comes to that.
Okay. And then like regarding like I think in the continuation of like what you're saying, like the way that like you're being perceived, I would like to know when are the moments where you feel hyper visible, and when do you feel invisible, like in general? Could be in the street or in specific context.
That's also a good question. I think that I feel hyper visible anywhere, even if I'm with people that look like me, because I'm used to the fact to kind of, how do you say that? Even when I'm with people from my own community, to say I kind of have the feeling that I should still look for a difference within me, because I cannot really, I have this weird thought in my mind that I cannot relate to anyone around me. And I guess that just comes from the fact that I always had to, that I was always super alert of myself, and therefore, even when I'm with people that look like me, I'm still looking for all the changes, which is a bit sickening, I have to say, because it's tiring to be so busy with yourself all the time. But I'm just so aware of the person that I am, and like everything that I do, that sometimes I have the feeling that I cannot rest. It's just about tiring. So I don't really have a concrete answer on that question. I guess that I'm just always aware of the perception that people have of me, or the perception that I assume that people have of me. Maybe that's better said.
And where or when would you feel maybe that you could rest? Like what would be for you like the perfect setting, or I don't know. It's now that you said that, I'm also wondering.
I think that I can rest past, or maybe it really depends, because I would like to say that I'm better off when I'm with no one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also don't want to believe that, because that's actually such a lonely thought. Even though that I think it's really good to be comfortable with yourself, but at the same time, I also kind of believe that the people around me are a reflection of myself, and therefore, even if I'm not always the most optimistic about myself, the other people see it anyways. So, yeah, I guess it really depends on my mood or something, because now I would really think that, I don't know, I can really find a lot of rest when I'm just with my closest friends. Yeah, for example, they're called Vanavond and that. Yeah, because I know that they see me, and they see also the parts of me that I'm probably not as aware of as they are.
Yeah.
Because it's just easy to be critical about yourself all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's really true.
Yeah, but it has to come from within, I think. Yeah, you have to find this place of rest from within yourself, and then I think you can take it outside of yourself, and then you just project it on your environment.
Yeah, it's funny also because like when you said that, I was also thinking about, so for example for me here, I feel hyper visible as a black woman, and also as a black woman like doing crazy things with her hair. But then when I was in West Africa, I felt not hyper visible as a black person, of course, but then like as a woman, like in the street, I really felt like my body was being looked at and all of these things. And then I also started to think, how can I feel comfortable? How can I become invisible?
Yeah.
And so I decided like to hide also my body.
Yeah. Being a woman needs like definitely another layer upon this as well. Because I think it intersects for sure, but it's just whenever I have to think about that again, then it becomes so much in my mind, because you already have to think so much about your body, for example, just how you're actually like how the body of a black woman has been like fetishized and stuff. Oh my god, I can't. It's so much.
Yeah, it's true, and this is also what I'm trying like to raise in like my work here and in the videos that I make. It's like there is like a reason for like why people are like not people, but like why this person or like this person called you a chocolate queen or something like that. You know, it's like it comes from there's baggage. There's something and it needs to be addressed and we need to talk about it, or at least I think maybe it's a bit healing to be in a context where you can like talk about it and people are not asking you, is it really true, or doubting your voice.
Yes.
And how is it in the context of the ritual, because you're also a student here? And we are maybe like 5 or I don't know how many black people are in the school, but
being a Rietveld is a challenge, I have to say. I think that in my first year I was quite frustrated with it, but then the frustration
because you arrived 3 years ago?
Yeah, I did a pre-course, but in the pre-course I was quite young, so I wasn't really, I was aware of the person that I was, but I didn't make it part of my work to say. Yeah, if that makes sense. And then in basic year, it became a bit more of my work, or I guess that I just talked a bit more about it like verbally. But it also caused a lot of frustration, and the frustration just really ate my energy, basically. And then in my second year, I kind of decided that, or maybe not even in my second year, I think like actually this year, I kind of decided that I really want to be in charge of my own narrative, because it's so tiring that even if you say like stuff, people are always asking more of it, and they're like doubting everything that you say, and or at least in my in my case.
And people people that are supposed like to guide you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Like teachers.
Yeah, it's not even on purpose, but it's just you come from different backgrounds, so your approach to things is just different. And I mean that's completely okay, but I think that is also something that should be acknowledged.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's easy to get messy also.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I wouldn't want to. I mean, I can be really mad and annoyed and frustrated about it, for sure. But at the same time, yeah, if you don't have the same background, it's. I wouldn't want to say that it's okay, but I guess that it makes sense. But yeah, it's still frustrating because it's still affecting me, obviously.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I said, but then there's also like, because it's like you can be from a different background, but like sometimes like you need like to accept things that you don't understand,
yeah,
and some people don't do that.
Yeah, that's also how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm just really grateful for the fact that I have really good people around me in school that guide me. I'm just super happy with the people from my department, for example, the people in my class, because it's just. That just makes it easier. Because I think that if I wouldn't have these people around me, then my time in Rietveld would be way harder.
Yeah.
To be honest. And I feel really shitty to say that.
Why? No.
Well, I think it's really nice that I have these people around me, but at the same time, I'm also thinking like, what if I didn't have these people around me? And that's just not fair, I think. Because I think that everyone should be able to have a nice experience in school, even though if you cannot always find the good people around you, it should be kind of embedded in this idea of what is a good structure for all of the students to navigate and stuff. But
and then what would you think would be like the good structure, like for you in like an ideal world or something?
That's a hard question.
Oh, what did you miss? You know,
I guess that the representation of teachers is just something that is important, because I'm just like, it would be nice to have a teacher that understands your background and that can then guide you a bit better through your work.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it can also feel a bit like a self-study, which is at the same time, I mean, I also gained stuff from the self-study that I did, but I think it just makes it a bit more easier, or it would have made it a bit more easier for me if I had someone that could guide me in my process.
Yeah. And then when you say someone that understands your background, it's like not necessarily like a Ghanaian Dutch person.
No, not necessarily, no, just someone who also has like a double nationality, to say.
Yeah.
But therefore, I'm also quite grateful for the fact that the black student was something that I could reach out to. Which is, it was nice that there was this kind of, don't want to call it like necessarily. Okay, I forgot what I want to say, but I'm just happy that I could reach out to them and to the people in there.
Yeah.
That's just really nice, and it was important because it also made me realize how much I actually missed it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're not aware of it, and when I wasn't aware of it, I got super frustrated, and then when I reached out to them, I was like, oh, actually, this is what I needed the whole time. Basically, just people that understand or kind of know what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because in your work, it's very personal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, good for that. No, I think it's it can be difficult to like. I think to always be like the only one or like one of like the few ones.
Yeah.
And it's also like something recognizable like throughout your life, you know. It's like from the first time that you're going to school until like now, it's always the same thing. And the thing is that in art school, it's very necessary because it's I think art school is almost like a therapy or like something very close to it.
Yeah, I would also call that, at least for myself.
Yeah.
A really long therapy session, but a good one. I wouldn't want to miss it for sure, but I think that it could also be sometimes
Yeah.
a bit more. Yeah, easy feels a bit too narrow to say, but I guess that it could be a bit more easy
Yeah.
if you just find it. Person that can guide you. or something.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's also extremely necessary and also urgent, and especially in like
The context.
yeah, in the context we live in. And regarding that, for example, how did you felt with the Black Lives Matter movement last year,
Oh my god.
and the response to people around you, and
Oh my god. That was 2020 was such a strange year also because of COVID, but yeah, the BLM movement was it was really intense, I have to say. At the same time, I guess, well, yeah, maybe it's strange that I'm gonna say this, but at the same time, I guess that the fact that COVID happened also made people more. There was more like restaurant, or I don't want to say rest, but basically there was not really. People had more time left. I think that's better to say. So I think that because of that, the BLM movement also became quite big, or that's just my own perception of it. But it also became super intense, at least for me, just seeing all of these videos and pictures and stories on Instagram, for example, stories that I could relate to, but Instagram is also quite a dangerous tool to use when it comes to spreading information. Because you cannot really filter it, and I don't know, it was just a lot, basically, like literally, and figure of speech, it was just so many things that happened in such a small time frame, but also positive things, I think, because in the Netherlands, this conversation about being black and everything that comes with it has never really been a hot topic, I feel like, or just not something that, yeah, I don't know, it just like, it never has been a really hot topic, but I guess that's also just a part of just this whole history that the Netherlands played in the slave trade and stuff. Because I guess that from my own experience, I can say that whenever you talk about this topic, just about like, I don't know how to translate it, but the transatlantic slave trade and stuff, people just always ask, or they always wonder why you want to bring it up again, because it is something that happened so long ago, blah blah blah. Something that the Netherlands really didn't really take part in, but basically the whole city center of Amsterdam is built upon that history, like everything that you see, like even the fucking street names are from the language.
Yeah.
It's literally everywhere, and my existence is also because of that. And I don't know, I can talk about this for such a long time, but
it's like here people are like pretty much like they're very blind about
yeah, I'm not even sure if I would like to call it blind.
yeah.
I think that they're aware of it, but I guess that maybe it's more shame or something. I guess, or maybe not educated enough, I guess. Because I think that people know, but they don't know the complete story, and I think that just lacks within the education or the way that we get taught in it. Because the transatlantic slave trade was also something that made the Netherlands super rich. So people only know this rich side, but they don't know how the Netherlands became rich. And also because everything that happened concerning the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen in the Netherlands itself, but it was the ships just went to different countries, and that's just where it happened basically. So I guess that people, because of the fact that people didn't really see it, people can also not really relate to it, I guess. But that's just an assumption that I make. I'm not sure if that's also.
Then the funny thing is that the most famous Dutch word is apartheid or apartheid. So it's it's really something.
Yeah, it's really complex also.
And like, do you also feel this in Amsterdam? Because as like a foreigner coming to Amsterdam, I think that here I really felt my blackness. In the book that I wrote, it was like I felt it like actually like piercing my skin and like tinting my flesh. It was like so, yeah, intense, and also like, yeah, here, because I'm from Paris, and there I think it's like way more multicultural. It's like you see black people or just like people from different ethnicities a bit like everywhere. And here I really noticed also like when I was like trying to look for places where to take care of my hair, how to braid my hair, that it was like only one shop in the east side of Amsterdam, where like all of like the most of like the Afro-descendant community are. And is it something that like you were always aware of, like this segregation in the city, or as like a person coming from like being born and raised here?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was always really aware of it, but I knew that the place that I lived with my parents, so I grew up in Boslomer. That wasn't really the place where you would find Ghanaian people, for example, or not as much as you would find if you would go to the southeast, that people also refer to as the Belmer or the Bims, because that was the place where a lot of people from African descent lived, or just basically not only people from African descent, but also like the Surinamese people, just like people from the Caribbean also, in general. So I guess that I was aware of the fact, I guess that I was aware of it, for sure. But I wasn't aware of the whole history that played along this like, particular given, I guess. Because I recently found out that, because a lot of people think that the Belmer is the ghetto, or people refer to it as the ghetto, which is super, like, I don't want to say too much about it, but okay. But the whole history of the Belmer is basically based upon, I watched this movie in the Stedelijk like last year about the squattings that happened in the Belmer in the 1970s, because after the emancipation of Suriname in 1975, I think, I'm not completely sure if that's the right year, but after that, a lot of people from Suriname could kind of choose if they would take like Surinamese nationality or the Dutch nationality. And I also want to be careful with what I'm saying, but this is just the knowledge that I have. But after that, like a lot of people from Suriname came to Amsterdam, and in the documentary, I found out that the Netherlands basically promised that the people from Suriname that would come to Amsterdam would kind of, I don't know, they would provide them housing, just all of these basic things, you know. And that didn't really happen. And then the squattings happened, like in the late 70s when these people came, and the squatting happened in the Belmer, because the Belmer was actually first a place. What it was meant as like the suburbs where basically like more wealthy white people would live. But in the end, for some reason, the buildings were just empty. And through the documentary, I learned that a lot of these Surinamese people just squatted these houses because they were just like, we need better housing for our families and stuff. And just after that happened, a lot of Surinamese people started to live in that particular area in Amsterdam. And I was written up by the fact that I didn't know that, or that I felt like that I heard that so late through this documentary, because if I wouldn't have seen the documentary, then I wouldn't be aware of it. And I still want to do more research about it, because I think I've seen it once, but I'm not sure if the story that I'm telling is super accurate, but it's just what I learned from the documentary, and it was super interesting to see, because I didn't know that was the reason why a lot of these people live over there. Or I guess that maybe Afro did and stuff, but not really.
Not that clearly.
No, not that clearly.
This information.
It's a funky story to say, I guess. But also something that I want to read myself into a bit better also, because it's, again, when it comes to this certain information, it's really important that you are, that you say the right things, because it's so easy to to kind of be misled by information and stuff.
That's true.
Yeah. So even with what I've just been saying, I think that if people really want to make sure that it's true, that they should actually look for it.
Check it out.
Yeah, that they should check it out.
Okay. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's just
It's really a lot.
yeah.
It's really a lot.
Yeah, also just because I guess that if in the Netherlands the education about this topic was something that would be, I don't know, spread a bit more, then maybe it would be not so much then. But because all of the things that I'm reading that are super new to me, I'm just like, what? Okay, wait. Just have to sit down and I have to kind of like swallow it and then because but I'm also not sure how it would be if I would have grown up in the US, for example, because I mean I cannot say anything about it also.
What if you would have grown up in Ghana or West Africa?
Oof, I once had this conversation with a friend of mine, and he actually brought this up, and he was like, yeah, I wish that I was born there, because then stuff would be so much easier, because I guess that we talked about the fact that we both thought that if you would be born like in Ghana, like our motherland or our fatherland, just as you want to call it, then you would maybe have less questions about the person that you are, about your identity, because it's just like it's out there and you don't have to question all of the things that you see around you. But that's also just an assumption, because you never know how it is.
That's true.
Yeah, and I haven't been in contact with like people who were born in Ghana, so I hope that I can ask it one day.
But I think also that in the end, I remember like I went to like this festival called Identifier in France, in Paris. Identifier is like identified, and also like identity identified, and yeah, like there was like a series of talks, and at one point we were talking like with a group of like people from different cultures, background, and all like being born and raised in France. And this person said that the amazing thing with having like different cultures is that we're kind of like we come from different dimensions, and we can choose like in which dimension do we want to be. And I think it's really like somehow a gift if you see it this way.
Yeah, true.
And after it was in 2019, and this is also like where I discovered like the work from Rosie Kim from your class, department. But I think that if you see it that way, if you see the fact that like you come from different cultures, you have like different cultures within yourself, and you know actually about the Dutch culture, and you know also about the Ghanaian culture, in your case, for example, it's so valuable.
It is, yeah.
And that's also like the thing that I love is like I know about the French culture, but they don't know about my other cultures, and I think it's also something that I felt like since I'm very little. It's like I know that like this is really like a richness, and I don't know why I'm saying that, but
no, also because I guess that there's something that we can be proud of, because it's always about like black trauma basically, but there's so much more than that. Like there's so much joy to be found in our life and our existence. I mean, the fact that we are just doing it,
of course,
is already so much, and I'm super proud of that actually.
And then it's also like being like born like black and a woman in like a predominantly like white country is of course like a burden, like you cannot hide, like it's not something that you can hide, and of course like since like your childhood you're gonna go through like tough things that most of the people cannot understand and will never go through, but then it's also then it's like at some point it's also like what are you gonna do with that, you know? And yeah, it's like you don't really have the choice, but it sounds really awful, but I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we had. I think that we do for sure. Yeah. Sometimes it just feels. Yeah.
But then also, like, why did you accept like to come here today and like to be present in this installation? And yeah.
Oh, you're asking why?
Yeah, like why did you accept to come here with me?
I think that I don't know. I really want to take up more space because that's something that I've been struggling with, because people always question a lot of the things that I put out there.
In the sense of
in the sense of my experiences, or just like I guess that my experiences also shape me as a person. So just about the person that I am. And when you asked me, I was really like, I mean, yes, I should do it, but at the same time, I was also like, but I don't want to be in the center of attention, because then people will ask me things again, and I will make mistakes and blah blah blah. And then I was just like, but it's okay to make mistakes, first of all, because we're all humans, and that with that being said, it's completely okay, but also that I want people to see me for sure. Like, I don't want to hide myself all the time, because that's what I did in Rietveld also, by not being vocal about some things, because I was like, if I will say stuff again, then people will label me as this angry black woman.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I'm not raising my voice, people will put that label on me anyways. I mean, I cannot be in charge of what people think of me, or not completely. But I guess that I should be less bothered about all of these perceptions of me, because in the end, I'm the only one who can talk for myself, and I guess that I'm just doing that now as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I said yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's just important for me to take these opportunities. Because it makes me grow and also be more comfortable. So I appreciate
you so much.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you came and that we could have this conversation. And I think it's also very important to be able to join in intimacy and just talk, about the things that we don't usually say even to our families sometimes, or these things are really. We often, I think, or at least for me, before working on this installation, that was also voicing things out and healing somehow. I never really talked about it, even with the people that are very close to me. So that's why I think also for me it was trying to give this opportunity. So
we shouldn't do it alone.
Yeah. Definitely.
We should really, I hope that in the future, or at least not only in the future, but just now, that we will be able to communicate about what we feel to each other. Because we all need to heal, I guess. There's happening so much, and we really need to take time to heal and rest. And after that, we can thrive again.
We're on the way.
Yes.
We're walking on the path.
Yes. And we're getting there, actually. All of the achievements are really big, actually, also just the small ones. Even if you just get out of your bed, everything is super valuable, I think.